Soul Sparks with Saima. Here, transformation isn't just a buzzword, it's a way of life. And today's guest is our amazing Rob Wentz, is a force of clarity, conviction, and communication. From radio waves to boardrooms, from breakdowns to breakthroughs, Rob's journey led him to create the Unstuck Movement, helping people lead with integrity, faith, and bold authenticity. So, if you have ever felt stuck in your story, today you'll find the pen again. Rob, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Warmly welcome. It's my pleasure to be here with you, Rob. So, Rob, you have helped countless people get unstuck. So, I'm really curious to know that what was your own rock bottom moment that made you, pivot toward purpose?
Well, to say there's a one rock bottom moment, I wouldn't say there's one. It's been a progression, of realizing that things need to change in my life. I mean, I definitely had a very difficult, I would say, wilderness season of my life where I went through a long-standing separation and divorce. That was very challenging. That was a period of life that led me through a lot of change and a lot of growth personally and spiritually. But also I have an 11-year-old son. When he was born, that was another area where I knew I had to change. And what I think is that life gives you many opportunities to grow, many opportunities to change. And a lot of those situations, a lot of those opportunities look really bad. It's those moments or periods of your life where things look like they're falling apart. That's where your biggest lessons, your biggest breakthroughs, the most growth will come from. But you've got to be paying attention and you've got to be intentional about wanting to get better and not letting things fall apart around you. There's a great saying that I like to go back to often, and it is that what if things are falling together and not falling apart? Because when things are falling apart, it might look like the world is falling, the sky is falling. But in reality, if you stay faithful in those times, you pay attention in those times, and you focus on getting better, what you'll find is that things will fall together, and many unexpected blessings come out of those difficult periods of life. So as far as a rock bottom goes, I could name several. I was addicted to drugs for many years. There wasn't really a rock bottom necessarily there, but there was many moments of depression, of struggle, of angst. There was going through that separation and divorce. There wasn't necessarily a rock bottom there, but there was a long-standing period of struggle and of wondering, waiting, and questioning why things were happening. There was another period of my life where I was in a considerable amount of debt, $40,000 in debt, very broke, living in my parents' apartment that they had given to me because I couldn't afford to live anywhere else, and digging myself out of those places and realizing there's another great saying that I'll use too, is that what if you're not buried, you're planted, right? So if somebody's buried, that means they're dead. But if you're planted, that means you were put somewhere underground purposefully so you could grow up better than you were before. And I love to think of it that way. It might seem like you're buried in your life, buried under debt, buried under shame, guilt, anger, pain, whatever it is. But what if the reality is you're actually planted there so you can grow to be the person you were created to be?
That's a beautiful reminder, Rob. I mean, I love that it wasn't just one moment, but a whole process of rebuilding and like personal upheaval and the willingness to grow through it. That I must say takes real inner work, and it's really powerful, to hear how those challenges became the fuel for your purpose.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know what else the reason would be for going through really hard things, but to use them to help other people and to learn great lessons that can benefit not only you moving forward, but you can help other people through similar challenges going forward. There's a great saying: "If you're going through hell, why stop? Why stop in hell? Keep going. You're going through hell, keep going because you're going to come out of that at some point." So, and I think unfortunately, what will happen to people in life is they'll go through really difficult parts of life and they stop there and they let that period of their life win. And so they live from that perspective for the rest of their life. And there's no reason why we should do that. And if you have done that, there's no reason why you can't start again today to do something new. I think God created days and not just one continuous life. He created days so we had a chance to restart every day when we woke up. Our feet hit the floor. We have a choice to make that we're going to be different today. We're going to be better today. And that can be a gift and a curse, right? Sometimes waking up every day for some people is horrible. And for me, for a while in different parts of my life, it was very difficult every day to wake up. But that can turn around, and that will turn around if you put the work in, and you'll wake up every day with a smile on your face, excited because you know that God's given you another day to do things differently. And there's people out there who need that message. There's people out there who need help, who need to hear those words of encouragement because they're stuck in those dark days.
Absolutely, that's again the beautiful side. Now, communication is your superpower, right? So, why do you believe, that it's the foundation of great leadership?
Well, I mean, how else do you get anything done if you don't communicate? So, I mean, it's the foundation for everything because that's what we do as human beings. We communicate not only with words, we communicate by listening, we communicate by our actions, we communicate by our body language. And the thing we often, I think, forget about is that we're constantly communicating with ourselves, right? So your communication with you is extremely important. If you're a person of faith, your communication with your higher power is very important. If you're communicating just in day-to-day life with people, it's very important how the words you say, it's very important how you listen to other people, because if you think about, I mean, how does anything get done? It has to be communicated, and from communication comes execution. That's where
Mm.
leadership comes from. So I think everybody, I would have to imagine. I mean, I'm not inside of anybody else's head, knowing what other people are thinking, but I believe that we all have good thoughts and bad thoughts. We all have thoughts that will uplift us and others. We all have thoughts that will take us down a bad road and take others down a bad road. And we have a choice to communicate effectively. So if you're somebody who doesn't communicate well, it's going to be a struggle for you to get what you want out of life, to have the relationships that you want in life, to get past things that are hard to get past. All of those things will be more difficult the less effective you are at communicating. I mean, it's really when I work with businesses, right? So I work with industries, anywhere from up to 100 employees, and these employees, it usually is in the labor industry. So these are usually guys out in the field who don't communicate well, and those guys work off of, man code, I guess. A lot of pride. There's a lot of telling people to do things, not guiding people to lead themselves. And there's a lot of ego in that, and that can be a great downfall because the things that happen in your personal life happen in your professional life, and vice versa. So, how do we learn to communicate better? How do we learn to be more self-aware and to be aware of the people around us of what they need? Because just because we communicate one way doesn't mean everybody communicates that way. So you have to kind of bend to how people are if you want to make connections with them. And it's complicated, or it seems complicated, but really on the surface it's pretty simple, but takes a lot of effort and a lot of intention, because even though some things are simple in life doesn't mean they're easy.
That really reframes leadership in such a grounded way. I mean, especially the idea, that leadership starts with how we communicate with ourselves, as you said. And like, it's not just what we say out loud, but what we believe, how we listen, and what we do next. So that's really a powerful perspective.
Yeah, and one of the things I've been working on recently, so I recently took a personality assessment, and my accountability for others was lower than I wanted it to be. And also my accountability for myself was lower than I wanted it to be. So I recognize we can only help people as far as we've grown. So if you struggle, this is my goal for myself currently, to be more make myself more accountable to myself to do and say the things that I say I'm going to do. And the better I get at that, being accountable to me, the better I'll be at being having people be accountable for their actions that I'm working with in coaching. You can only help people to the level that you've grown. So if you want to be better at what you do, keep growing, and you naturally will be better at what you do. Uh, and it's so important, because we it's so easy to see other people's faults. It's so much harder to see our own. So you need coaches. If you're a coach, you need to be a coach and have a coach. Just in life in general, we need mentors, and we need to be a mentor to somebody else. Those things are foundational for us to be able to grow into the people that we're supposed to become.
That makes so much sense. Now, you talk a lot about integrity and promise keeping. So, like, how does keeping our word, build self worth?
Yeah, sure. I mean, how wouldn't it? If you had a friend who always blew you off, always broke promises, didn't meet up when you said you were going to meet up, didn't follow through on things they said they were going to do, how long would you stay friends with that person? And the answer to that depends on your level of self-worth and your self-value. But if you're somebody who values yourself, you're not going to hang around somebody who's constantly breaking promises. So why would you do that with yourself, right? So if you are in a place of low self-esteem, low self-worth, low self-confidence, chances are you're breaking a lot of promises to yourself. Chances are you have, and I'm just speaking from me, right? Because I can't be inside of somebody else's head, but I know inside of my own head, if I am breaking promises to myself, because internally we kind of have a moral and value system built in with things that we know we should be doing. When you know you should be doing something and you don't do it over and over again, you break that relationship with yourself. So you start to become an enemy of yourself. You're not friends with yourself anymore. Now, if that's somebody on the outside, obviously you can just quit talking to that person and you won't have to deal with it anymore, in some situations. But in your situation, you're stuck with you. I'm stuck with me. So I don't want to hate myself. So I need to have integrity. I need to do what I say I'm going to do. I need to keep promises to myself. And the more I do that, the better my self esteem will get, the better my confidence will get, the better my self worth will get. Really, and once again, I come back to the simple concept. It's a simple concept, not saying it's easy, but it's simple, and paying attention to. And a way you could start is by making a list. Make a list of those. What are those loops in your head? We all have loops of things that we repeat that we know we have to do, but we haven't done yet. What are those loops that keep coming up? Write them down and make a plan for, okay, maybe it's a phone call, it's a conversation. And usually it's a conversation that needs to happen. It's an action that needs to be taken, and break those down into bite-size, goals to go after. But really that to me is the that's the bottom line of building your self-worth, is to keep your promises to you.
That
And
really
and and
helps.
also on top, I
Mhm.
want to add to that, being realistic, right? So sometimes your ideas of what you should be or who you should be are unrealistic. So being realistic about what's possible right now is a big piece of that too, because you can't say I'm supposed to be an astronaut and you're not even, you know, you work at a gas station, right? Those two things are too far apart. Number one, be realistic about where you can be and then work towards those realistic goals.
I love that. And integrity is like a mirror. The more we keep our word, even in small ways, the stronger our sense of self becomes. And I imagine that carries into how others experience us too. That really lands.
Well, yeah. If you break promises to yourself, you're not going to be the best version of you. And so you're not going and I honestly believe this, you attract where you're at in life to you. So the way your life is, the people that are in your life are a direct reflection of who you are. And as you grow, and this has been my own experience, as I've grown, people naturally grow away from me, and other people naturally grow to me because of where I'm at. So our growth can intimidate people around us, or can make them feel insecure or highlight their lack of growth around us, which might draw them away from us. Or if they want to grow, it's going to draw them closer to us. So it really, naturally you'll change your circle as you grow, and people that you never were able to get close to before, you will grow closer with, and people that you were very close to before, you'll grow away from. And being aware of that, being okay with that, and understanding that, I think, is a huge part of the journey, because you can really mourn losing friends or people that you used to be close with, that maybe you knew they weren't healthy, but you valued their relationship, or maybe you wanted to save them or help them. And sometimes just being who you are is going to move them away from you. And that can be a good thing. Maybe they'll come back later on in life. You never know what's going to happen in life, but understanding that and accepting that is a huge part of growth.
Yes, that's so true. Now, what's one small promise people can keep today to start rewriting their identity?
Well, in general, the promise that you can make to yourself is to do the things you say you're going to do. I mean, we covered that, but I think it's really important to dive deeper on that, because if you can keep the promise to yourself that I promise to do this, do the things I know I'm supposed to do. I promise I'm going to have the hard conversations that I know I need to have. And those conversations can be with yourself, but they also should be with other people, because I know myself personally, I have a couple of conversations right now that I need to have that I've been knowingly avoiding. And the quicker you can collapse the time on the things that need to be said to the people who need to hear them, the faster you can do that, the more efficiently you can do that with love, the better results you're going to have. And like I said, it's easier said than done, but it is able to be done, and it is very important. So keep those promises, write them down. I promised myself I was going to, lose 15 pounds. I promised myself I was going to quit smoking. I promised myself that I was going to build a relationship with my sister, whatever it might be. I promised myself I was going to either advance in the career that I'm in now or do something different. Getting specific and measurable, and then keeping those promises will keep you on track. And the more that you procrastinate on them, the more difficult things get, and the harder it is to dig yourself out of that place. Because there's a saying, and I don't think the saying is 100% true, but there is truth to it. And the saying is that how you do something is how you do everything. So if I procrastinate on doing the dishes, I'm probably procrastinating on having a hard conversation. If I'm, if I procrastinate on exercising, I probably procrastinate on eating better food. Those things aren't in a silo by themselves. Usually, how you do something is how you do a lot of different things. So if you can understand that concept, it's going to help you to grow in different areas at the same time.
That's again such a like simple but profound reminder, that it's not about stacking more goals, it's about actually following through and what we have already said we had to do.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah, if you think about life in general, I mean, how does anything get
Mhm.
done? Like, everybody has good ideas. I think everybody on the face, there's nothing new under the sun. I think everybody's somebody who's done something amazing, somebody else had that idea. Maybe a million other people had that idea, but only one person took the action to make it happen. It's all about the execution, implementation, and action taken to make the thing happen. That is the separating factor from successful, unsuccessful, from uh, joyful to depressed. I mean, that's the difference, is taking the action. There's no lack of information out there. There's a lack of follow through. And
Mhm.
I'm preaching to the choir, because I suffer from it too. We all do.
And I do feel, that alone can start shifting how we see ourselves. Like, I feel that builds real momentum.
Yes, that builds off of each other. Momentum is very real. And when you start to grow too, I think it's very important, because there's a great book, a very simple book called The Slight Edge. And in The Slight Edge, it's these ideas of simple daily disciplines. These things are easy to do, but they're easy not to do. To tell yourself, that you love yourself. Easy to do, easy not to do. Make your bed in the morning. Easy to do, easy not to do. Work out for 20 minutes. It's easy to do, like going for a 20-minute walk. That's easy to do as long as you're, capable. It's also easy not to do. So these things are not hard, but they take discipline, and it's habitual. And it's the idea that as you start to do something new and different, there's going to be resistance. When you start to do something good, you will get resistance. And no, the resistance is a sign that you're heading in the right direction. Usually we think the resistance is a sign that we shouldn't be doing the thing. No, resistance is a sign that you're heading in the right direction. And eventually, that resistance, you break through it, and it comes around behind you and then supports you as momentum. And it's the best way to look at it is that eventually that resistance will become the momentum that propels you forward. But just know that before the breakthrough, there's going to be a breakdown. So when you're going through a breakdown, know the truth is a breakthrough is coming, but you have to get through that resistance to turn it into momentum. And there's no real understanding of the time frame there. That could be a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade, depending on the thing and depending on who you are. But know the breakthrough is coming. And my mentality changed in life from kind of giving up because it sounds like a lot of work to going after it because that's the most important work that I could do. What else is more important than finding breakthrough, positive breakthrough in your life? I find that is the most powerful thing we can do is find breakthrough in our lives. And so I look at it now as like, well, what else am I going to do? Give up? That what would that do for me and the people around me? It would do nothing good. So why not keep going?
Hmm? That makes so much sense again. Now, like you teach the bold art of being yourself. So, in short, in a world of curated lives and social pressure, how do we begin to live unfiltered and real? A short message.
Well, the bold art of being yourself, I'll go back to it again because I think it's the foundation of this conversation is doing the things that you promise yourself you're going to do. As you stack up more wins for yourself, you'll build more confidence and you'll be more of who you were created to be. So that goes back to communication because a lot of those things that need to happen involve you communicating effectively and communicating who you actually are and what you actually want. The more that you give up your self to other people and their needs, desires, I'm not saying you shouldn't help people and be there for them, but integrity is very important because you know internally what is right and what is wrong. I'd like to think that we all do. That might be skewed for some of us, but at the basis of it, we know what is right and wrong, and we should chase after the things that are good in our lives and you got to put the time in. You got to put the work in, and it's going to be painful and it's going to be struggle, but it's going to all be worth it in the end. Would you rather have the pain of discipline, of doing the hard things now for a better future, or the pain of regret, which is doing the easy things now that make things really difficult later on? I've done the pain of regret far too much in my life to where it put me in places, like I mentioned earlier, going through divorce, being broke, being addicted to drugs. I felt the pain of regret in those situations. And now I'm learning the pain of discipline, of doing the hard things now that seem inconvenient right now that pay off in the long run to a much better life.
Mm, That's a good job. I mean, I love how you brought it back to action. Not just saying who we are, but showing it through what we follow through on. And in a world of noise, that kind of alignment between and deed really that is bold. And absolutely,
Yeah.
you're right that it all loops back to communication, especially the conversations we have with ourselves. That's where real authenticity starts.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And um, there's no other, I mean, it's the best thing to go after. It's the best thing to work on because it's going to make and if you're somebody who wants to make the world a better place, you've got to become better to make the world better.
Absolutely, yes. Rob, your story and mission reminded us that being stuck is not just a chapter, not the title of our story. And to all our listeners, your message lives in our mess. Your greatness hides in your integrity. and your voice is waiting to be unleashed. So remember that being stuck is just a chapter. Let go of who you're supposed to be and embrace who you truly are. This is Soul Sparks, and this is your host, Saima. Here you find that spark.